Imagine stepping into a maze of strange machines, clanking metal, crowds of people whispering, judging your every move, mirrors pointing to your every flaw. Clothes suddenly feel too tight, you're breathing too loud, and it smells really bad. Now it might sound like I'm describing something out of a bad horror movie, but for me a couple years ago, this was just going to the gym. And I've now come to realize that most of these details were just in my head, except for the smell. Growing up, I somehow managed to be both the fat kid that would only go in the pool if I had a shirt on, to the tall, lanky teenager that could be pushed around by first graders. None of these were the typical people I would see at a gym. And I'd sweat more from anxiety on my way to the gym than actually working out. And that's if I even made it through the front door. Fast forward to today, I feel like the gym is the place where I feel my most confident. I spent a lot of time figuring out where my anxiety was coming from and how to develop the confidence that I didn't have. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing 8 simple, actionable habits that have completely eliminated all my anxiety around the gym. Now, before listing these out, I think it's important to take note on what was happening when I was experiencing this intimidation with the gym. And a lot of it can be attributed to something called the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is a psychological event that makes you feel like everyone is paying attention to your every move. And it often leads to increased self-consciousness and social anxiety. This illusion is called by cognitive biases, aka errors in our way of thinking. We're the center of our own worlds, but this centrality creates a bias where we assume that we're also the center of everyone else's world. A common example of this is giving a public presentation where you feel like you really messed up a word, or you felt nervous the entire time and feel like everyone could tell, only to ask afterwards and have nobody noticed what word you mispronounced, and sometimes even congratulate you on the presentation. Or you're having a bad hair day or accidentally wore the same shirt again, and you suddenly think that everyone can notice. For better or worse, I've always considered myself to have high self-awareness and high standards for myself, where I constantly analyze my thoughts and what I'm doing. But for someone experiencing the spotlight effect, this just makes it worse, because you then think that everyone else around you is doing the same thing, analyzing every single thing you do and everything you think. Then we have the gym, where we add in factors like visibility, because it's a public setting, social comparison, because it's a social environment and we're hardwired to compare ourselves, performance pressure to do exercises correctly or lift heavy enough weights, and finally, body and personal insecurities, which just magnify everything else and increase the shine of that imaginary spotlight. Now, it's important to note that overcoming the spotlight effect and general social anxiety is a process that takes more than just simple habits to overcome. So alongside those practical habits, I'm also going to include some resources and mental exercises in the description that help me slowly build that confidence I needed. Now that we understand what the spotlight effect is, I've talked enough about them, let's jump into those habits. We're starting off simple. And the first one is having a plan. Uncertainty breeds anxiety. And the biggest thing that would cause my confidence to plummet at the gym and at anything is when I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. So this means planning your workouts for the entire week, knowing exactly what exercises you're doing and in what order you're doing them. And once you have that workout plan, don't stop there. I used to then spend hours looking up those workouts to understand, what do the machines look like where they're performed, what's the correct form, and a big one is, where do I adjust this machine to get it to the right angle, or how I'm supposed to use it. Additionally, machine weights are going to be your best friend when starting out. They typically have the exercise listed and they help guide you through the movement. So you don't have to work on any stabilizing muscles, and you don't have to completely figure out the form on a new exercise. And if you're confident with certain exercises and you know you can perform them well, do those. Forget about optimal. Forget about science-based what's the best, and focus on what makes you feel the best. Trust me, you'll have more than enough time to correct and fine-tune your workout plan in the future. The next one is familiarize yourself with the environment. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel extremely uncomfortable in unknown or unfamiliar places. I hate feeling lost, and even worse, I hate that feeling of someone knowing that I feel lost. I'm the type of guy that if I'm walking and I make a wrong turn, I'll either commit to that new path and whatever it entails, or I'll give a Broadway performance showing how I forgot something, and that is the only reason why I am turning back. You might not be as extreme as I am, but new places are uncomfortable. And the same goes with the gym. It's its own maze of machines versus free weights versus cardio, and it can be disorienting. Now, my main tip with getting familiar with your new gym is to take advantage of that tour that you get when you first sign up. I know it feels very sales-like, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable to have someone just tour you around a gym, but use it as an opportunity to really get to know the environment that you're going through. If you follow that first habit, you now have an understanding of what your workout's gonna look like, you know what machines you need, So try figuring out where those machines are during that tour. And if you don't see any, you can just ask the associate right there and he can point you in the right direction. So the first time you go in to work out, you have a clear understanding of where you need to go. The next thing I'd recommend is starting off every workout with a walkthrough of the gym. Now the funny thing is, I kind of still do this because I just built it into my routine. The first thing I'll do is walk to the bathroom. And that's because typically the bathroom's located all the way at the back, opposite the entrance. So that kind of gives me an end destination that I'm confident I can arrive to, and I can just walk through the gym and take different routes to get there while also scoping out and mentally noting where everything's located without feeling lost because I know where I'm going. I'm going to the bathroom. And this just makes me feel a lot better versus just stumbling around and looking for a random machine and not finding it. And lastly, a big one here is going to be time. So allow yourself that time in the gym to just feel comfortable with your surroundings and feel comfortable where you're going. If you're an introvert, you're gonna hate the next one, but I got through it, so you can too. And it's befriending those at the front desk. Now, you don't have to become best friends or anything. You can just say hi when you walk in. First of all, that's just being a decent human being. Secondly, I found that those positive interactions with someone, it didn't matter how brief it was, provided a kind of social support. Knowing that there were friendly faces in the environment, I felt more supported and less isolated. Additionally, it allowed me to shift focus, redirecting my thoughts from myself and what people were thinking of me outward to other people and having conversations and how they're doing. And again, if you're extremely introverted, it could just be a wave, a smile, or just a hi back. It doesn't have to be a super long conversation, typically best if it's not, but it'll help. Also, don't worry if they didn't hear you when you said hi or when you waved. It doesn't mean they hate you. It means they probably didn't hear you or they're busy. So that's okay too. Next, one of the easiest ways to feel like we have less eyes on us is avoiding peak hours. The gym is typically busiest anywhere from 4 to 7 p.m. Additionally, you can check Google for your gym specifically, and they'll typically have a breakdown by hour of the traffic in the gym at different times. And this is helpful in so many ways. There's not only less people potentially looking at you, but it also opens up all of the equipment. So you don't run into trying to use a machine that you have in your plan and it's taken by someone else. Additionally, you'll probably feel less self-conscious about walking around the gym. So it's a good time to get familiar with the environment. Additionally, it'll be a lot easier to find different pockets of the gym that are completely empty. And you can use these to try out a new exercise that you were self-conscious about trying in front of other people, or you can just enjoy the empty space. The next one is
pretend you're Batman.
Stick with me, I know that might sound a little bit crazy. A psychology study published in 2016 divided children in 2 groups and had them complete the same exact tasks, such as completing a puzzle, with the only difference being that one group was told, be like Batman. And they found that this group of students were faster, more resilient, creative, and felt better about completing the task. Another less extreme example we all know of is Kobe's Mamba mentality. Now, I'm not saying walk into the gym with a mask on, but when I started putting my chin up and visualizing a confident version of myself walking into the gym, having an amazing workout, and not caring about what anyone thought about me, I started actually feeling that way. I think it's really hard for overthinkers and people pleasers to show confidence because they don't want it to be perceived as cockiness or arrogance from others. But eventually I got to a point where I told myself, you're allowed to be arrogant and cocky for the next 2 hours, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else in a negative way. And it never did, because I wasn't arrogant or cocky. I wasn't hurting anyone, I was just helping myself. I might have a serious face and be hyper-focused, but as soon as anyone came up to me, I'd crack a smile and make sure I responded to them like a normal human being. But when they walked away, I'd be back to my Mamba mentality. I'd be back to being Batman. Now, speaking about Batman and the mask, we have the next habit, where my mask was actually these. Headphones, specifically noise-canceling headphones. And the next habit is getting yourself a pair of these. This provides a good sense of distraction, the noise cancellation really shuts out the outside world, and blasting music that just makes you feel confident is like a superpower. Also, some alternatives to music are calling someone that makes you feel confident and using that time to just catch up and talk through your workout. Even though I don't do this one too much myself, I really like it because it's a way of habit stacking, where you're working out, but you're also getting some quality time with someone you love. And I feel like we don't get enough of that these days, so don't knock it till you try it. For the next one, we have getting a trainer. Now, I didn't place this higher on the list because not everyone has the resources to pay for a personal trainer. But if you do, I'd probably prioritize this one. It's essentially a fast track to almost all the habits that we've talked about today. You're getting a detailed workout program, so you know exactly what you'll be doing and how to do it. You'll get someone that's familiar with the environment that can guide you through it without feeling lost. And you'll get that social support where you don't feel like you're alone or isolated. Now, I do want to note to be cautious with who you select as your personal trainer, because just like a good personal trainer can reduce a lot of the anxiety with the gym, a bad one can increase those insecurities. So make sure before starting with a trainer, you express your challenges with working out and acknowledge what their response is and make your decision based on that. Now I'm going to end it with a controversial one, and it's that you don't have to go to the gym. It doesn't matter what social media says. It doesn't matter what's trending. It doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. If you don't feel comfortable, if you've tried and you just don't like how you feel when you go, there are other ways of exercising. And there are countless people that have gotten fit and stayed healthy without ever stepping foot in a gym. Finally, remember, it's okay to take your time and to work through these challenges at your own pace. And although following these steps were helpful for me, it was a process. Like I mentioned earlier, I also did a lot of mindset work paired together with it. So remember those links down in the description. Now, if you feel like you've got a handle on gym anxiety, but still find yourself procrastinating going to the gym and you don't know why, then consider checking out this video here, where I talk through some of those reasons and provide actionable solutions to them. Finally, for all of those on a fitness journey, remember, keep it fun, keep it sustainable, and be kind to yourself. Catch you next time.